is now 7 minutes after 7. Today is the 25th day of April 2016. This is Morning Express, and it's time for us to have The Way It Is. And joining me on the set this morning as part of our panel, I'll start with my immediate left. We have Ambrose Weda. Good to have you.
Good morning.
I hope you had a good weekend.
Good, nice.
Restful.
We had ordination service in Makueni County. And the governor of Makueni County actually did the church something which we had been praying for very long. Access to the church had been blocked for years. And by way of a miracle, they opened the road and brought down houses. And we said kudos to Professor Kubwana. And the church was very happy. I think he earned several votes. And I reminded the church. That was my teacher.
All right. Next to him, we have Honorable William Okech, who is the Deputy Registrar at the High Court. He was with us on the newspaper review. So thank you for joining us also on The Way It Is. We also have Senator Omar Hassan, Mombasa County. Senator, good to have you. How was your weekend?
Kampunji on Saturday, and then on Sunday I was in Mombasa attending to various functions.
Okay.
And then as usual I came back this evening, the last evening, because I have to be here for this show.
Thank you very much for your commitment and dedication. We appreciate it. Okay. We're also expecting Honorable Muriuki Njagagwa, who is the Member of Parliament from Beira. He's going to be joining us a little bit later on as we carry on. But let's start with matters at hand. And one of those, of course, is the IEBC, which has begun to create another storm. And of course, we do know that the opposition has come out to say that today they're going to be storming, to use the word that has been used, to storm the IEBC offices, and they will not leave, rather they'll set camp until the commissioners are removed. But let's start with some of the comments that had been made, politically speaking, over the weekend before we begin the debate.
Sijui wanasumbuka na IEBC ya nini? Hawa watu wajipange. Wao ni wanashindana na sisi, wawachane na IEBC. IEBC ni mtu tu ya kufika vilimbi.
We don't want to repeat what EC did right now. So IEBC must go home, must have a referee in which we all have confidence.
Wao kama ni wazalendo wa Kenya, by Monday wajiuzulu. Last kama si hivyo, tunaenda sisi kule tukauliza maswali, mtaondoka lini?
Tusikubali mambo ya mass action kwa ofisi za IEBC. Lazima tuchunge mali ya Nairobi na Mkenya yote yule ambaye anaishi Nairobi.
And those are some of the comments that were made over the weekend regarding the IEBC. Now, just to set the tone for the debate this morning, the question that we had asked earlier on, is storming the IEBC the way to go for us to have free and fair elections? Is storming the IEBC the way to go for us to have free and fair elections? And let me just read some of the comments that have come through so far. And we have Eve Minette that says, Kenyans must make deliberate decisions to do things differently. Storming the IEBC is predictable. I'm going to reread that. Kenyans must make a deliberate decision to do things differently. Storming the IEBC is predictable. We also have Paul Otieno Onyango, who is watching us from abroad, and he says, no way, it is not the best way. But when the authority does not understand, then it becomes the way. Keep your comments coming. I shall read them as we continue with the debate. But let me start with William Okech, who has taken us through some of the procedures that are required for us to have the IEBC commissioners removed. And maybe since you've already done that, you've already taken us through the procedures, the question then would be, is this particular attempt to storm the IEBC illegal?
On the face, no, it's not illegal. You're aware the Constitution and the Bill of Rights provides for the freedom to picket. There's that freedom to picket, to demonstrate, and to bring out issues. That is a legitimate right. So on the face of it, it is not illegal per se, to the extent that you will be obstructing the commission from a lawful discharge of its duties. For instance, I imagine if it is storming, if that is the word, storming the offices, holding a sitting, preventing officers and staff from getting access into the office, making noise. So I think to that extent then the legality will come in that it will be a penal crime. causing disturbance and obstructing lawful officers from discharging their duties. To that extent that you will be obstructing, then it will be illegal. It will be a penal offense under the criminal laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me come to you, Senator. And of course, there is the legal procedure of having IEBC removed. Is this the only way that can be gone, especially that it can be done, especially given the kind of political temperature that we have as a country?
You know, we want to save this country. And when we want to save a country, sometimes you need to refer back to the sovereign will of the people of Kenya. Mm-hmm. The people of, we exercise our mandate in all our respective institutions under the Constitution through that sovereign will. And I think one opinion after another polling has demonstrated that IEBC's credibility has continued to shrink. When you are an arbiter in an important contest, as the one that is coming up next year, and do not lack credibility and legitimacy, with about half of the population of Kenya, to quote Canon Karanja, CORD almost has half of the country behind it, whereas Jubilee has almost half of the country behind it. This country, unfortunately, is split half and half. So when you have a contest where there is actual doubt on the neutrality, objectivity, and independence of one of the most important organs of elections, that is the electoral authority. In addition to that, you have a Supreme Court that is under severe credibility crisis. Then the likelihood of plunging this country into crisis is far higher. Mm-hmm. I can tell you for a fact, even today with the IEBC, with the type of credibility it does have, if Jubilee will lose this election, they will still not accept the results.
And the issue here, Senator, is not necessarily the fact as to whether IEBC is credible or not, especially in the eyes as an arbiter. The question is the method being used to get them out of office. There's definitely concern from very many quarters.
For what you've talked about, the storming is a coining of the media. What we said is we are going to sit in to the IEBC. So it is a legitimate right of protest, as he puts it, as Will Kokech puts it. It's a protest that is governed within the realm of the Constitution. So for us, that popular action, we hope, will crystallize the process of now using the interventions necessary. I heard Commissioner Nzibo in one of the items you did run within the weekend, saying that they are willing to leave on commencement of the process. For me, my appeal to him is, if you're willing to leave, why do you need to put us through all this unnecessary, struggles and run-ins? So I think what happens is, once the popular process kicks in, once this process kicks in, then the legal process also can catalyze, so that we now have a self-propelling process where we can then have a tribunal. But you do not also want to drag them through that type of mud. You are only asking them in democratic parlance, where you appear to have lost substantial credibility because you are not an IEBC of the Jubilee regime. Because look at it, look at the irony. It is Mike Sonko, it is our Deputy President William Ruto, it is Aden Duale who are supporting you. So you have been tied into a contest, political. So you appear as if now you are an IEBC of the regime.
Okay. I'll come back to you still on the system and what it really means when you talk about the sit-in, and it is a constitutional right, but what you expect to get out of that. But let me come to Ambrose Weda on your take on what CORD have to do as a way of, trying to resolve this.
I think CORD has opted to shout out and bully the IEBC, and it's been consistent since they lost elections in 2013. And being that it is being led by Honorable Raila Odinga, who has a substantial following in this country, it has led to the loss of credibility slowly and slowly, to the extent that the IEBC is so decimated now. Then government finds itself in a choice between a rock and a hard place. A decision to defend institutions. And when you defend institutions, then it is said you are defending them because you are beneficiaries. You get it? So it is like when government comes out and says, don't do this, then court will be saying, you see, these are your IEBC. So the choice is difficult. But decimating these institutions and then disregarding the constitutional process actually weakens this country. And I don't understand how court imagines that after weakening the institutions and the country, they will win these elections. Although they have succeeded in decimating the credibility of IEBC. If I was in their shoes, if I was in the shoes of my classmate Isaac, I would not wait for them to come. I would leave, because I don't think I have personal interest in these things. You give me a job, I do it. If it is a job that requires credibility and you think you don't like me, the way now court thinks, their way between them and State House is IEBC. Without IEBC as currently constituted. Yet this is the IEBC. They are the ones who put these people in place.
It is a fair argument that if they do not have confidence in the IEBC, then it is only fair to request that we have a fair arbiter. Because at the end of the day, and it's not just for court, we have NCCK who have come out and said, look, this requires to be done. And even if we went into the elections with the IEBC as it is, then even if Jubilee lost, they could come out and say, look, we have Eda Duale who has said that he does not have confidence in the IEBC.
Yes, what I'm saying is this. IEBC,
I want also you to build on your own point, which is an extremely important one. You said that the credibility of the IEBC is decimated.
Yes. So what I'm saying is this. IEBC, like any other referee, presides over a contest. And in any contest, there will be a party that will be saying the referee was unfair. I have run for elections, and I don't remember ever losing. I always remember being rigged out. And I'm not alone. Everybody else will lose. Right, so what I'm saying is this. The losing party will always have somebody to blame. Yes. Now, this one court lost, and they started decimating. In this program, they are decimating the credibility of IEBC so much that by the time we go for elections, they'll have none left. And because that has happened, if I was in their shoes today, I would not wait for them to come and do this.
But that is leaving the IEBC at their own goodwill, which obviously so far they have not shown to have.
The only other way open is the constitutional one. Now what they are doing is hooliganism. And that hooliganism is wrong for this country. And wrong for an old man.
Let me first of all introduce Muriuki Njagagwa, who has just joined us, and I'll come to you shortly. Muriuki Njagagwa is the Member of Parliament from Mbere, and thank you for joining us this morning. But let me come to William Okech, and given that court make true their word that they're going to actually Hassan, you said it's a coining of the media to storm. What word would you rather that I use?
The whole idea is about the right to picket. We call it occupy.
Okay, so I'll use occupy. Now, assuming that court make their word true and they occupy the IEBC offices, what would be the procedure now from there to actually have the IEBC officers removed, given that they, assuming rather, that they don't have goodwill to actually step down?
Yes. Well, of the view that this will be a task that requires goodwill, both from the opposition and also both from government. Because one, it is a fact that the Constitution protects the tenure of the commissioners. You cannot kick them out of office. There is a process through petition and ultimately tribunal. So where there is goodwill between the opposition and government, then it makes works easy. Because like I said last time, government has some certain mechanisms of bearing pressure on officers, you know, be they controversial, be they not, such as withdrawal of security, you know, sending government officials to actually talk to you, like the other time when EACC commissioners were being getting out of office. We were even told that some of them had guns placed on their head at that time. So it was said.
That's alleged. So
So I think this is an effort that will require goodwill from both government and opposition. But then again, on the converse, you'll want to ask yourself, what is the measure of loss of public credibility? What is the measure? We remember our late brother Uteno Kajwang, rest in peace, when he talked about passionometer. How do you measure the loss of credibility of an institution? Does it mean that when a political leader stands up and says, I do not have faith in this institution,
Then it must
then automatically all the followers do not have confidence in it. So then we are in a catch-22 situation, bearing in mind the time frames of going through that process and setting in place a new commission. Will they be competent and will they have the hands-on experience to midwife the next elections? It's a catch-22 situation.
All right, let me come to Muriuki Njagagwa and hear what your take is on IEBC, given that we also have people within Jubilee who have actually said they have no confidence in IEBC.
My take would be is, I've always wondered, when CORD and its brigade won the Malindi by-election, when they won the Mathare by-election, and they were in Bomet in a ward election and they won, at that point in time, IEBC was very good. Actually, they were heaping praises on IEBC. How come then, all of a sudden, they are saying IEBC has lost credibility? Even NCCK, what measure are they using to find out that, have we carried out an info-track survey?
Yeah, they have been.
To find out that IEBC is not credible?
Yeah, they have been.
You see? So we are saying, I will not stand in the way of IEBC. As Parliament, we should not be always there to destroy institutions. You see what happened to EACC? Of course, those ones, they have their own issues. But now we are not being told this is what IEBC has done. I don't think there's a petition before Parliament to be prosecuted. So why should we just wake up one morning and start saying these guys must go? If somebody has an issue about them, the process is very clear. The CORD brigade, I believe, are law-abiding citizens. They keep on preaching to us about the rule of law. Why don't they present a petition in Parliament? They have numbers in Parliament. I believe they have some members of Parliament who affiliate to them. Let them prosecute that petition. If a tribunal has to be formed, then it will be formed after that. Alternatively, as the Wenda says, if the petition comes and Isaac and his team think that they ought to walk out, let them go. But we are not creating institutions by every morning waking up and saying, this is bad.
Do you, as Muriuki Njagagwa, have confidence in the IEBC, in its current constitution?
Well, I don't think I haven't seen anything wrong with them so far.
So you have confidence?
Personally, I do.
You do?
Yeah,
All right,
Jagag, my brother here in Jagagwa, looks at small little theaters of obligations of IEBC, like managing small elections in Malindi or in Kericho, and think that the fact that we accept that win is an acceptance.